GettiansAuto, GamerNode.com, and today I'm here with Bior. Bior and I are going to be going through the opening, it's called the Open and Play campaign, the tutorial mission, essentially, of Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon from Awaken Realms. This is the exploration journal, and all the way in the back, in the non-spoiler section, we have the tutorial exploration journal, and we're using our Start Here guide. So we have a very special deck of cards that come with our combat cards and diplomacy cards. Here's the top of that deck. It's all pre-made for you. And then we have our first encounters of the 4 types in this game that we will get to on this small section of map. Now, normally when you explore these cards, you'll flip them over, but in this case, we have our special exploration text there so we don't spoil what is in the campaign and on the cards. There you can see my first menhir, which allows us the opportunity to explore cards in all the adjacent slots. And here's our character figure and the cards with all of the possible things we can do. We're going to have 2 more available areas in this opening tutorial, and a few of these player aids to help us through. So we've already got ourselves set up here with Bior. He's got his starting attributes with these universal markers, these red markers. They'll help us keep track of all of our stats and our energy, health, and terror. Bior's energy starts here at 6, bing, and his health there at 9, and his terror at 0. He is not afraid at the moment. We've got 3 food and 1 wealth to begin, and we do have our festering wound, so hopefully we won't become exhausted. We will be able to craft, and let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is, well, we're going to go and look at our little manual, and we're going to see our first event. We're going to go on this quest to speak to the blacksmith, and that says we have to explore the Quanacht farm location. There it is. So in this case, instead of flipping this tile over, this card over, we will move into here, into our Quanacht farmhold. First thing we do is, oh, look at this. This is helping us. A deep feeling of loss pervades this town, from dilapidated farms to the sunken eyes of those who remain in town. The menhir in the market is nearly extinguished. Still, this place is the only home you ever knew. Now you're ready to choose what to do in this location. Below are 2 options. Each has a requirement. The first time you come here, you're only able to choose the first, because the second requires a specific part of a status story trigger marked on your tutorial save sheet. If you're here for the second time, you should already have part 2. Okay, so first thing, speak with your master. Only if we don't have the surprising errand status. And here's verse 1. Urfir is up earlier than usual. As you enter, he hides a large pack behind a curtain and turns to you with a wide smile. You here, lad? Good. Hope you're ready to stretch your legs a bit. I hear a star fell near Whitening, and a local tanner picked it up. It's a solid ingot, large as your dingy head. I'd rather not have it fall into the hands of some other smith. You nod. Falling stars are a bad omen for most simple folk, but they always excite blacksmiths and armorers. After all, the legendary Excalibur was forged from one of these cold shards of distant skies. Soon you depart, walking down the sloping fields toward the mist-covered forest, with some rations, your trusty hammer, and a purse of silver Urfir gave you. Before stepping into the shadow of the trees, you take one last look back at the ancient statue towering above shacks and houses. How much longer can this tired old thing protect Quanacht? Gain part 1 of the surprise errand status. Gain 1 wealth. Exploration ends. And that was surprising errand, but I'm reading on my phone screen, so it's kind of hard. Okay, so we add 1 wealth to our character sheet, and now I've taken one of these status pages, which is part of the save sheet, you can see right there, and we've added to it surprising errand, and I circled the number 1 because it's not included on here, likely because it's just the tutorial. All right, so now we're going to move on to traveling. And since we are in a new location, we get to move ourselves out of the way. We get to reveal any locations that are adjacent and marked with one of these chevrons here, one of these arrows. So we'll take card number 106 and put it here, and it also shows 102, and then 107 and put it right in there. We'll move this guy down a little bit. And there we go, there's whitening. And the reason that we reveal those two, but not number 113, is because it also needs to be adjacent within 1 card space of our men here. So here we are, we're in the Hunter's Grove, and we've discovered whitening over there. And now that we're in the Hunter's Grove, let's do our first location action. Now, location action is right here on our helper card. We use the action on the front of the location card, and we're paying the amount of energy as listed. So I'm going to be reducing by 2 energy off screen here, and we're going to gain 2 food and also reveal 1 green encounter. And here it is. Boom. Mist-shaped vermin. Not misshaped, but mist-shaped. Okay, so we've made it to combat, and this particular card shows a lot of little helping messages, little notes. So we're going to need to get 4 cubes in our combat pool to the left there in order to win. And then to the right is where we'll be lining up our attributes with our combat cards. And this is some more details about what the rat here does. Now what we do when we go into combat is we follow this combat overview. So starting the encounter, we're going to draw 3 character cards and check enemy traits. In this case, it has none. So here are our cards. We have attack, we have reposition, and we have ignore pain. That's our hand for now. Now, since we are the only active character and there are no delayed abilities yet, we're going to go ahead and play our first card, the attack card. And in Tainted Grail, what we're trying to do is line up these icons along the left side of our card with the right side of the previous card. So here we see we've lined up this aggressiveness icon and this golden key down here. The aggressiveness icon we can do because we have aggression. Okay, so we line up aggression with aggression, and this one allows us to line up these keys without having a prerequisite attribute. So in this case, we're going to take 2 of these cubes and put them in our combat pool. We are getting close. We essentially hit him twice. Now, we look at the text on the card, and it says that enemies are going to do 1 extra damage to us. And we also put a delayed abilities token on here, which will let us draw 1 card should we get to the delayed abilities part of the combat without covering this up. So normally you play 1 card per turn, unless the card has these lightning bolt icons that you can connect to keys on the previous card. And since we do have lightning bolt icons, we're going to try it out. we're going to bring it over here, and it looks like we could connect it in two places. One is this magic section. We're going to end up moving this, so I'm just going to kick it off. We would need magic in our magic pool. To do that, we don't have that prerequisite, but we do, however, have courage. This is the courage icon, as ignoring pain might be considered courageous. So we're going to slide that in, we're going to connect it there, and we are going to get rid of this because we lost the chance to do our delayed abilities for next round. Okay, since we connected this one down here, we are going to get a card to draw. So we will flip over our next combat card, which looks exciting for the future, but we're not going to use anything yet. Plus, that didn't have a lightning bolt icon. And what we get from Ignore Pain is this sort of passive bonus, which happens on the enemy attack. And we'll stop there for our card playing turn. According to this, we have to do a victory check, which is right in here. Victory check means see how many combat markers are in the combat pool. If they're equal to that 4, we win. We know that we only have 2, so we don't win just yet. And now we go and we move on to the enemy attack. The next step is to take a look at the chart here. This shows that if there are 0 to 2 cubes in the combat pool, this enemy, the vermin, will do 1 damage. So we will quickly come over here and reduce our health by 1. And we also know that if we receive an injury, a wound here, we're going to add a cube to the combat pool. So we've just done some damage right back to him, or maybe it's just scaring him that we ignored the pain. So a victory check shows us that we only have 3, not 4. That's what happens after the enemy attack. You see there, perform the victory check. We have all done our activation, end our turn, discard down to 3, and then draw 1 card. We don't discard down to 3, because we're already below 3, but we do draw 1 card. And now we move right back to the phase 1. We got rid of our delayed abilities, so let's just go ahead and play a card. We could do this powerful blow and smoke this fool, but we would lose an energy there, so we're going to avoid that. It would connect here to our aggression and a bunch of other places, well, the free key anyway. But instead of doing that, let's try Battle Cry. So we're going to take Battle Cry, and we are going to connect it here. I went a little too far. We're going to connect it right there. Taking a look at the free key here, we know that we draw 1 card. Boom. And what did we get? Throw. Throw could potentially do damage. Let's play that. We have the lightning bolt icon that can connect to a single aggression slot, and it gives us a damage here. So we will put our cube right there and flip over 1 weapon or shield you're using to gain 2 more cubes. I don't think we need that. So a quick victory check. 4 is equal to 4, so we win. What is our loot? 1 food. Going over to our food, we had 5. These are actually worth 5, so we can make this 6. Boom. There we go. And now we take back all of our combat cards. We take, these are just the ones that I threw away. We'll put these back in our deck, and then we get to shuffle that. And then we would discard this to the bottom of our encounter deck. In this case, we just stick it over there, and I'll toss these cubes into a local pool right there. So what is next for Bior? Well, we are in the Hunter's Grove, and we are pretty much out of energy. If we go any further, we will become exhausted, and we know that his festering wound makes him lose health every time he becomes exhausted. So, we decide to rest. Resting is an action that takes 0 energy. We pass, we end our day, and we move on to ending the day. We rest. We're going to consume a food to restore 1 health and 1 terror. So there's our 1 health. Our terror is fine. And now we restore our energy back up to full, which is here. Not into the bonus area, I don't think. Okay. We could then advance our character by spending experience. We were not exhausted, so we didn't have to take a lesser energy bump. We don't have decks to modify, or we have a deck, we just don't have ways to modify it. And now we are in a location with the dream icon. We're not going insane though, luckily. And you can see the dream icon is shown right there, and there, and there. So we go over to the Hunter's Grove, and we go to the dream icon. We shouldn't read what I just pointed at because we didn't explore the Hunter's Grove. So in our dream, we return to the dark ravine deep in the grove. Like many others, you search for a little girl who went missing in Quanacht. Instead, you find a mass of what looks like tangled black snakes crawling across the moss-covered stone. The mass rises on countless black legs and rushes at you. For a split second, you see the horrific truth. What charges is a malformed, overgrown, beating heart on countless legs of blackened veins and arteries. It opens its circular maw, full of lamprey-like teeth. Next moment, it's on top of you, ripping into your side and trying desperately to push itself into your chest. With all your strength, you pull it away from the wound, throwing it to the ground. Hold it in place with your boot and crush it with a swing from your hammer. Then you wake up, alone in the forest, shivering. The wound burns again. You ask the village priestess, an herbalist. You tried many remedies and quaffed foul-smelling mixtures. Still, the wound festers, turning black. You try to fall asleep, but your mind dwells on what fate awaits you, and whether a thing like the one that killed you will emerge from your chest once you die. Lose 1 energy, gain 1 terror. The prophetic dream caused Bior to lose a point of energy and gain a point of terror. Move the markers accordingly. We will move to start of the 2nd day. We don't have the nightmare section. Okay, so we're losing an energy, bing, gaining a terror. Oh no! Mr. Bill, Mr. Bior. Okay, start of the next day. We come over here and we turn this dial from 7 to 6. This is going to be very difficult. Bing, okay. And now we'll read our event card. Tired and in pain, you start the final leg of your journey. Great. Okay, so moving right along, we're going to travel to Whitening, and I'm off screen here reducing my energy because travel takes 1 energy. And here, we don't reveal the top, the right, and the bottom already is. We don't reveal the top and the right cards because it would be too far from our men here. But we do go in and draw a blue encounter when we enter this location. So, here we go. Blue encounter. A suspicious guard. Now this is a diplomacy sort of interaction. We have an affinity track. We put our marker right here, bing, and we have a bunch of other stuff that I'm about to learn. Okay, so we've got our diplomacy overview. First, we'll draw 3 cards from the diplomacy deck, pick our active character, do delayed abilities just like before, and then we'll play our cards. So here are my 3 cards that I've drawn from my diplomacy deck, and we're gonna jump in and try this Eye for Detail. What this does is it allows us to connect to our caution key here. We do have 1 caution. That's great. There's a connection down there. It doesn't do anything. But this gives us this special icon that is shown on the diplomacy encounter. So in this case, it lets us raise our marker here 1 when we get one of those symbols. So that's great. We've already started to push our affinity track toward, succeeding at this conversation with this suspicious guard. And this also shows put a delayed action. Whoa, as I throw it at myself and it goes tumbling to the floor, we'll put a delayed action right there. Delayed ability, excuse me. So we could continue to play lightning bolt icons. We do have 1 there, and we could play it, but we're not going to. We're going to go in and just like our victory check, we're going to do an affinity check, and we are not at the top of the track. So we will then move on to the enemy response. So the response on the encounter card that matches the current stage. So here we are. The response is we go down 1. So this goes down. Bing. So we're back in the middle. We don't have any resistance to that based on our card that we played. So we perform the affinity check. We know that we're back in the middle. We're fine. We're checking readiness. We're fine. Discard down to 3 cards. We're at 2. We draw 1 diplomacy card. 1 diplomacy card. And add that to our hand, and here we are. Next round starts. We do have a delayed ability of drawing 1 card. We'll get rid of that. We'll draw this card. I'm going to put it there for now. And then what we are going to do is play Misdirection. Let's try that. We're going to go with Misdirection, and it's going to connect right in here. This looks good. So I'm seeing a 2 times bump up. So we're going to go 1 and 2. We're almost there. I think we are going to continue with our little lightning bolt here on Threatening Voice. This will connect down here with a lightning bolt. And we lose 1 rep, which is reputation. I think we're good. We don't have reputation to lose. And we do have 2 aggression. So that means that we are going to raise our affinity track 1. And look at that, we've hit the top. If we perform our affinity check, we see that we have completed this encounter. And the reward will be gain 1 rep. We will grab a cube and put in our reputation. We will take our diplomacy cards and put them up here. And we'll take this card and slide it away. So there's that. And here are our things. I don't think you needed to see me shuffle those back in. So we're going to move right along to entering the whitening, because that was the plan, was to go there and explore the whitening, to go look for that smith, or to go look for the farmer or the tanner who found the meteorite or whatever it was. So we will investigate or explore being the action, which is right here. Boom, explore. We won't flip the location card. We will go over to whitening. I will be losing an energy off of my player sheet, and now we'll read. The hole is here as always, gaping at the heart of whitening. The white lichen that gave this town its new name seems to grow out of it. It covers the walls of the nearby halls with a thick coat. Only close up can one discover it is in fact a layer of small sparkling crystals, like sea salt on the wooden posts of a pier. As you inspect it, several people watch you suspiciously. You shrug your arms and show them you're not interested in their secrets. Go to verse 7. Okay, we skip this. Okay. There's no love lost between Connacht and the whitening. You shouldn't stay here long. Visit the village tanner, go to verse 9. Ask whiteners about their menhirs, go to verse 5. Let's visit the tanner, because we don't want to stay too long. Here's verse 9. You ask around about the tanner wanted you to find and draw some strange looks. Finally, someone tells you this man moved out several months ago. Angry and confused, you reach the tannery only to find the building abandoned and covered in cobwebs. What's going on? Is this a cruel joke? Gain 1 terror and gain part 2 of the surprise errand status. That's crazy. Okay, so we got part 2 of the surprise errand status. We're going to go find our guy. Bior's going to move 1 here, which drops us down 1. And then we're going to go again, but we're going to exhaust ourselves to do it. And by exhausting ourselves, we're going to lose 1 heart. So this goes down here. Okay. And that was to do the second movement to come to this area. This guy's in our way again. And now we're going to explore this location, and we're going to drop this down. And it says only when you become exhausted. I think since we were already exhausted, we don't lose another health. But what we do, since we explored, is we go into our options. We're going to complete our mission, and we're going to go to verse 2, because we did just get the second part. You enter Connacht exhausted and in pain, yet even in this condition you quickly realize something happened in your absence. Many sad-eyed townsfolk walk the streets or argue in small groups. Startled, you look toward the men here, but it seems fine, surrounded by ribbons flapping in the wind. There's no weirdness in Connacht. So what could draw all these people out of their houses? As you approach the forge, you almost stumble upon the boy who usually delivered Urfir's messages. They're gone, the boy tells you. They left at the break of day. Urfir wants you to take care of his workshop. You stumble into the building only to find it empty, save for a note lying on the workbench, held securely in place by a heavy ingot of star iron. 3 times you attempt to read the parchment, your eyes watering from helpless rage. It says Urfir left Connacht without you, traveling with Lord Yvain, Fail, Aubert, and Niante. They head for Camelot, where they hope to find help for your town. You were deemed too weak for this journey, not good enough. As silent rage grows within you, gone are the exhaustion and the pain. You leave the forge and look to the east. Somewhere there, behind rolling mists, clouds of weirdness, and dangerous trails, the Connacht champions journey on. You're sure you will find them. Each party member gains 1 terror. We're getting close to being terrified, going insane. Congratulations, you finished the tutorial scenario. You'll find Urfir's letter in the game box. It will prepare you for the first chapter of the Fall of Avalon campaign. Good luck in the bleak world of Tainted Grail.